Hello friends, it's your art teacher, Miss Barnett. In today's lesson titled Creatures Up Close, we're going to be creating a collagraph, which is a raised type of print, and we're going to be printing an animal up close. So for your project today, I want you to think about emphasis and centers of interest, which we've learned about in our last two lessons, and we're going to use a different printing process than we did for our Animals at Play lesson. So this should be very exciting for you guys. So what you're going to need today is a piece of paper and a pencil to sketch your ideas on. We're also going to use a piece of thin cardboard for our base and part of a file folder to create our shapes. We'll need scissors and glue, as well as printing ink like we used in the last lesson, and a palette. So to get started, I want you to think of an animal that you're interested in. It could be a bird, a fish, an insect. You want something that's fairly small because we're going to do a close-up view of it. I want you to think about when you're sketching today, you don't have to draw every feather of if you're doing a bird or every scale on the fish. These details are not needed for a collagraph. Instead, you should focus on the main outline of the main shapes and then the smaller shapes in your animal. So we're going to get started with sketching, and you can watch. Here we go. All right, friends, now that I've completed my sketches, I'm going to pick one of these guys to create. I think I'm going to do this praying mantis. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my drawing and I'm going to transfer it even bigger onto my brown paper. I'm just going to sketch it on here. Let's go. So friends, I've transferred my sketch onto my background, and we're going to turn this drawing into a collagraph. A collagraph is a print made from a surface that has been made like a collage. Cardboard shapes and other materials are going to be glued onto this heavy piece of cardboard to make our printing plate. And we're going to remember to create a center of interest of a close-up view. So the face is going to be my center of interest. I'm going to show my main shapes and my smaller shapes. And I'm going to fill up the printing plate like I've done here. I'm going to get started by cutting out these shapes that I see here out of my tag board, and you can watch. Here we go. Now that I've cut out all my shapes, I'm going to use the glue and glue them down. Here we go. Alright, friends, now that all my glue pieces are glued down, I'm going to let it dry, and we'll look at it again when it's finished and completely dry. Be patient. Alright, friends, just like before, we're going to put a little bit of printing ink on our palette. This is dried. And we're going to use our brayer tool to charge and load up the roller with lots of ink. Back and forth, lots of directions, just like the last print we did. Again, I'm going to check my roller, make sure it's fully charged, that I haven't missed anywhere. Looks pretty good to me. Now we're going to take our printing palette, the collagraph plate that we created, and we're going to ink it up. Going lots of directions, trying to fill it in as much as possible. If we need to reload the brayer, we can. We're going to try to get all these cardboard parts inked up. That looks pretty good. I'm going to put the brayer down with the bar on the table. Then I'm going to take a clean piece of paper, matching the corners, lay it down. Looks pretty good. And then we're going to use our Baren or our pressure tool to press. Going in circles, trying to pick up as much of that ink as possible. And you can kind of see it transferring a little bit through. It's easier to see in real life than it is on the camera. Press, press, press. Let's check it. That came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. We can of course do another ghost print. Lining up another piece of paper without re-inking the plate. I might just use my hands for this one. Press, press, press. And there's my ghost print. I hope you have just as much fun working on your animals up close, Creatures Up Close project, and I cannot wait to see what you do. Let's get started.